Ooh, I've met guys where I've thought that they were gonna just be my king, my knight in shining armor. They were gonna sweep me off my feet. Like we was gonna go to Greece to just get married and have babies. No, that was not the case. I had one particular guy. I just thought that I was so in love with him. I thought that, oh my gosh, we just can talk through anything. We just love each other so much. And then, we was laying down, just relaxing. And he had just out of nowhere, there was a picture of somebody naked ass, excuse my language, came up on the phone. And I was like, what is this? I was devastated because all of my dreams or thoughts and feelings that I envisioned us having, it just went downhill. So I opened up. I was like, what is this? Because at that point, what do you say? Like, what do you say? And he just kind of sat there with the still face. I sat there with the face ready to fight. I was ready to knock his head off. So I started going through I was like, no, give it to me. I grabbed, he literally was almost about to wrestle me for the phone. I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go there with you. Let me just leave this alone. So that particular characteristic was, of course, a deal breaker. Once you realize a guy is a cheater, leave him alone. I know people always say, oh, forgive. And honestly, you do what's best for you. If you want to forgive someone, forgive them by all means. But me, cheating, especially when you're going to cheat, my thing is be discreet about it. Don't have it all out. I'm laying next to you, got all these booty pictures popping up. Like, come on.
I have left relationships because he wasn't where I wanted him to be as it related to how he treated me. So getting into the relationship, not really focusing on where systematically he was in life was not my issue, because again, I didn't know where I was. And so going through the journey of really figuring out where I am in life, I feel like, and that was something that I did with my last relationship. I was like, I'm not going to date anybody for a season. A season was a couple of years. I'm going to focus on figuring Rhonda out. Rhonda, Anita, who are you? So I do need him to have been found, honey. I need him to have been, gone through the process. Now, he doesn't have to be perfect. He could still be trying to figure out some things that a woman helps to complement. However, I don't want him to come to the place where he's completely broken and he has no clue. I just done that. I've done that in my life, and at this next half of my life, I want bliss. I want, and it's not to say I want a perfect world. I just want someone who knows exactly what they want out of life. I want them to be a visionary. I want them to, help me to go to the next level as I help him go to the next level.
What a relationship would do for you is it will cause you to grow. So if you're not ready for growth, don't get in a relationship, because what a relationship is going to do, it's going to challenge you. The very things that are a shortcoming for you, God is going to put you with a person that actually can accent and challenge you and help you in that area. So I've found that I've unfortunately been in relationships where people were not open to growth and development. Sometimes me too. I'm not going to sit there and say that it was always everybody else's fault, because I have a lot of responsibility in knowing how to, knowing how to properly vet before you go into a long-term relationship. I've been married twice. I was married twice. I was recently engaged. That engagement broke off at the beginning of this year. And if I'm truly honest with myself, I don't think I really, any of those people were who God designed or desired for me to be with. But because I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what boundaries were, I didn't know how to be okay with being alone, but not being lonely, because God never leaves us alone. And so it's been challenging, because you have to figure out, do I speak my truth? Can I be my authentic self without intimidating someone, without offending someone? And then when do I get to the point where I say enough is enough, and I just can't deal with it anymore? So this journey continues.
I can definitely say that back then, even as recent for me as I'll say like 5 years ago, where I noticed I put up with more because I was attracted to that guy, whether it be just that physical aspect or his arrogant demeanor. It was something about that just had me drawn to that person. And they would kind of just, maybe hit me up every now and then. Sometimes I didn't hear from them 2 or 3 days. And when I did hear from them, it was very kind of nonchalant. I'll bring it up and they would just say, "Oh, all right, so what's up? What you trying to do?" And even in the midst of that, I was like, "Okay, well, let's go hang out," knowing good and well this is not what you deserve. There's not enough looks. I used to be all, "Oh, he gotta have big muscles. Oh, he gotta be athletic. He gotta be a trainer or a basketball player or a football player, or he has to have that bill." As my sister used to say, what you used to call
boy
him?
thug.
Pretty boy thug. She always said that every guy I dated in my past was like this pretty boy thug, but that's what I was attracted to. And not saying that all of them did me wrong, but majority of them did do me wrong. And I still just kind of put up with it. And I knew once I got older, I realized that looks is not everything. Granted, they are important because you do want to be attracted to your partner.
Oh, you have to.
But going for just what I was going for wasn't getting me anywhere. But as they say, wet pants and a broken heart. So I don't want that. So I knew not to keep going in that because I will be excited physically, but disappointed mentally.
Love is so much more than just the superficial outward appearance, that kind of thing. Of course, everybody likes a fine man or a fine woman, and I'm not any different than anybody else. But the people that I found myself in love with, it had nothing to do with any of that. One of the things that every personality profile that I've ever taken says is that I am a loyal person. Like, I am so loyal, almost to a fault, right? For me to be in love, it's like for me to be all in, right? So it's like whatever you need, I got you. I'm all about coming together and building together, building an empire. And if I really think about my two, my previous marriage and my previous engagement, it was because when we were together and we were getting to know each other, it was like, yeah, I want to build. I want us to have an empire. But people want the empire, but they don't want the work. So when the work had to start, then things began to change. Mindsets began to shift. And then there was a falling away, And so it's been tough, but I don't regret being in love. I'm looking forward to being in love again because it's a great feeling.
I continue to pursue love in spite of previous heartbreak because I saw such a beautiful representation of it in my household growing up. My biological parents divorced when I was very young, so I did not, witness what led to the end of that marriage. But I do recognize that sometimes certain situations have to end for something more beautiful to begin, So I made peace with that throughout my life, and even ending my relationship with my son's father. I still have it at the forefront of my mind that I want to be able to show my son that a beautiful love story can be achieved. Longevity can be achieved in a relationship. You can have a long-lasting, fulfilling relationship. Even if it's not with his biological father, I know that he ultimately wants to see me happy, and I want to show him what that looks like, because he's going to carry what he sees in my household with him, and it will follow him in his relationships, how he parents his children, how he treats his wife, girlfriend, significant other. And the last thing I want to do is, bring up a wounded child, to witness so much toxicity that he becomes embittered and wounded, and carries that with him into his life.
But now, since I have a son, how will you treat my son? Will you think of him as just baggage that I'm coming with, or will you embrace my son as your own and love him, regardless of regardless of the fact that he's not your child? Will you be able to show him the same kind of love and be a role model for my child? I think that if you have a relationship with your family, you have to have a good relationship with your family, because if you don't respect your mother, you're not going to respect me. And if you don't respect women, you're not going to respect me. So when you look at a man and you see that he treats women in a way that is not pleasing, then you have to use that as a red flag and recognize that if he treats this woman, prime example, I've dated people who have had children from previous relationships. And, if the father wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, I would hold him accountable. And I would say, hey, this is your child. So no matter how you feel about that woman, you have a responsibility to your child. So if you're somebody who has children and you're not taking care of your children, I have no interest.
When you really know those things, it helps you to be able to weed out other people, not just men, but female relationships, business relationships that may not serve you. But it's all about knowing who you are. And I know that's a loaded statement to say know who you are. Like, okay, well, how do I know who I am? You have to go through some situations to figure out that doesn't feel good, that feels good. Paying attention to your energy. Like now I've learned how my energy flows. When I get in a certain person's presence, I know what happens on the inside of me. I know how to discern a good potential opportunity based on the direction of my discernment and how my energy is flowing. If there's some resistance, listen to it. Listen to those resistance. Listen to that small, still voice that says, don't go that way. No. Vet that situation out a little bit longer before you commit.
Don't let the sweet charm and the pretty smile let you bypass the way they treat you. Always look at how somebody treats you. And honestly, any person who's ever done me wrong, I don't look at it as, oh, they did me wrong. You take whatever it is that they did, you take whatever it is that you did, and you learn from it. And you take it with you so you know how not to act and you know what to look for. And then you learn over time is what you like and what you don't like. Some people just hold on to anger, resentment, bitterness over past situations. People would be so much happier. Some lives would even last longer if they took the initiative to not let all of that past hurt and anger dictate who they're going to potentially be their partner. And I've just always taken such an approach where, you know what, he did me wrong, but he wasn't meant for me. God didn't want him in my life. God wanted me to see the signs about him. And every time I meet somebody, it gets better and better. So guess what? I know that it's only going to get better.